In the apocalypse, a bowl of plain rice could trade for the unattainable campus bell. Yet this young man feasted on lavish meals of fish and meat every day. He also had a towering zombie bodyguard standing 3 meters tall. After Lin Ziluo left the game store, top-tier employee Strong killed many zombies for him. He simply passed by and picked up the supplies on the ground. Lin Ziluo was in high spirits. With the auto-loot cheat, not a single piece of equipment here was missed. And his experience points were just a little short of reaching level 10. Now he's not far from switching to the hidden profession Shadow. Lin Ziluo checked the picked-up supplies. A one-time bronze-grade item that transfers damage to a scarecrow. This is definitely a life-saving tool. Combo gloves. Gloves that have a chance to trigger combo attacks when worn. Just what was needed. In terms of offense, these are quite impressive among bronze-grade equipment. Lin Ziluo gleefully put on the combo gloves. Now it was time for the main event. He fused the Tangcross saber and the ring-handled saber together. If the quality of the two bronze equipment pieces is sufficiently high, there is a strong possibility of synthesizing silver-grade equipment. However, there was also a chance that the quality could decrease. His heart was filled with anxiety. Even though he had a cheat system, it only guaranteed the drop rate of equipment. As the system prompt sounded, "Are you sure you want to proceed with the fusion? Once fused, both pieces of equipment will permanently disappear." Lin Ziluo didn't hesitate any longer and replied, "Confirm." No sooner had the words been spoken, the fusion stone immediately emitted a white light, gradually enveloping both blades completely as they entered the fusion state. Since the fusion required 30 minutes, Lin Ziluo took advantage of this opportunity. He also took the chance to solve the dinner issue for both himself and Strong. But it has to be said, Lin Ziluo is such a sly one. He enjoyed a roast chicken himself while only giving Strong some leftovers. Just as he was feasting heartily, a delightful system notification sound reached his ears. "Fusion successful. Congratulations, player, for obtaining the silver-grade equipment, Doomcleaver." Lin Ziluo was somewhat taken aback, never expecting the first fusion to actually succeed. He quickly glanced at his new equipment. The originally snow-white gleaming blade was now dyed a deep, profound black. Doomcleaver +1 silver-grade equipment, capable of gradually repairing blade damage after combat ends. Passive skill, Decapitation. Increases speed by 20% during decapitation attempts. Successful decapitations grant the player +1 strength for 3 minutes. Stacks up to 2 times. It's actually a top-tier silver-grade equipment. This is absolutely phenomenal. Lin Ziluo, now equipped with the new weapon, is brimming with confidence and vigor. He saw Big Fool still burying his head and eating over there, and couldn't help but feel frustrated at his lack of ambition. "Let's go. Our target, the demonic capital library, to snatch the female zombie." Lin Ziluo first arrived at the main entrance of the library, found a detailed explanation of its internal structure, and planned out his route. He discovered that there weren't many zombies inside, so he instructed Strong not to hold back this time and to charge forward directly, without needing to save any for him to finish off. Upon receiving the order, Strong charged straight into the horde of zombies, completely unfazed by their sharp claws and bites. With a single punch, it smashed a zombie's head to pieces. Lin Ziluo, on the other hand, carried himself with much more elegance. Every swing of the Doomcleaver in his hand accurately strikes the neck of the zombie without fail. He continuously harvests experience points like the dead god. Soon, the zombies on his side all fell in pools of blood. Turning his head to look at Strong Lin Ziluo was greatly shocked. "Holy shit, what the hell did you just do?" His once exquisite suit was torn into shreds, revealing the 8-pack abs he had always envied so much. Then she glanced down at Strong's lower body. Lin Ziluo was even more shocked, thinking to himself, "Truly a beast in human form, it's comparable to Mike's size." So Lin Camper, feeling jealous, instructed, "You hold on here for a while. I'll go outside to enjoy the scenery and calm down. I'll wait for you on the top floor." Strong, not understanding the reason, nodded. Half an hour later, the two fought their way up to the rooftop, having eliminated nearly 150 zombies. Seeing only about a dozen zombies left here, Lin Ziluo calmly said, "Activate Frenzy of Madness." As soon as the words were spoken, without the slightest hesitation, Strong activated the skill. In an instant, an overwhelming surge of rage flooded his mind. The fury completely overwhelmed what little consciousness he had left. Lin Ziluo decided to give Strong another strong dose of motivation. "It was those dozen zombies in front of you that devoured all your roast chicken." The Frenzy of Madness skill boosts attributes based on the intensity of one's rage. Sure enough, Strong's slightly grayish skin flushed crimson with rage, and the veins bulged prominently on his muscles. It let out a roar and charged straight out. Meanwhile, Lin Ziluo comfortably sat down on the ground, holding a freshly brewed cup of Longjing tea in his hand. Upon seeing Strong punch the ground and shatter it, Lin Ziluo couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Is Frenzy of Madness really that intense? It's only been 2 short minutes. Strong cleared all the zombies here in no time. Lin Ziluo couldn't help but exclaim. Truly worthy of being naturally mighty. At this point, Strong was nearly at his limit. Its body returned to its original size, and it plopped down on the ground. Moreover, the scratches and bite marks on its body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Lin Ziluo hurriedly opened Strong's panel. Sure enough, an additional talent appeared. Energy recharge. Consumed food will rapidly convert into energy to heal one's wounds. Lin Ziluo couldn't help but marvel at how Strong was moving further and further down the path of a warrior tank. Now it was Lin Ziluo's turn to get excited. Countless pickup notifications flooded his ears. 3 stamina potions, 2 spirit potions, 2 equipment enhancement scrolls. Spirit potion. Drinking it instantly restores 10% of spiritual energy. Aegis chestplate, bronze grade equipment. A lightweight metal chestplate imbued with protective power, capable of forming a transparent shield around the body for 3 seconds according to the wearer's will. This light armor perfectly met Lin Ziluo's requirements. Lin Ziluo took out the enhancement scroll, and after careful consideration, decided to use it on the vampiric ring. After all, his current ability to absorb health is still too limited. A green light flashed, and the intricate patterns on it became even more complex. Vampiric ring +2. 12% of the damage you deal to enemies can be converted into health and transferred to your body through your weapon. In the apocalypse, a bowl of plain rice could trade for the unattainable school bell. Yet this young man feasted on lavish meals every day. He even had a 3-meter-tall zombie bodyguard. He only needed to sit aside, sipping his milk tea. Strong could help him fight zombies and collect loot. Lin Ziluo used the enhancement scroll on the vampiric ring. A flash of green light passed, and the intricate patterns on it became even more complex. After equipping it, his attributes reached a new height. Seeing that Strong had rested enough, Lin Ziluo prepared to continue their journey. The man and the corpse made their way through the passage piled with bodies. Arriving in front of a store, Lin Ziluo pushed open an iron door. Inside lay shattered tables, chairs, and bookshelves. Only a boss could have caused such destruction. Although Lin Ziluo had visited this place in his previous life, back then all the bosses had already been cleared out by others. He was quite curious about what kind of zombie this one might be. Lin Ziluo walked straight into an office. It displayed the slogan of the demonic capital store, which was open to all players. He gently turned the doorknob and pushed, but the door didn't open. Before his eyes was a room covered in a special medal. Congratulations, player, for successfully locating the demonic capital store. You have gained 10 reputation points. Inside, a small metal capsule is placed, designed to prevent customers from being ambushed by others while purchasing items. However, one must not stay in the store for more than 30 minutes each day to prevent anyone from hiding here to evade pursuit. Lin Ziluo is well aware of these rules. Ding! As the first customer welcomed by the demonic capital store, you have received a one-time 50% discount on any purchase. Lin Ziluo's heart leaped with joy. Having just slain so many zombies, he had accumulated quite a few gold coins on him. Without wasting any time, he decisively stepped into the metal pod. As soon as he entered, a prompt panel appeared before his eyes. Attention, the store does not prohibit the use of force. However, if any customer's attack damages the metal walls during a fight, you will be required to pay a high maintenance fee. Lin Ziluo certainly doesn't want anyone to show up at this moment. If you can't afford the fine, you'll be directly eliminated. He opened the item menu. A dazzling array of items immediately appeared before his eyes. Scroll of Ice Spike Air price, 3,000 gold coins. Strength Pill price, 1,000 gold coins. The items above left Lin Ziluo somewhat disappointed. Yet, the items in the shop were actually quite good. But he had no desire for any of them. It's just that his current equipment is far superior to these. Just as Lin Ziluo was about to close it, the system voice sounded again. Ding! Detecting that the host is not satisfied with the demonic capital store items. The hidden item purchasing permissions for the demonic capital store have now been activated. This permission is granted exclusively to players who have made significant contributions to the city. Lin Ziluo was also completely baffled. He had no idea whether he had ever saved the world or not. However, upon encountering it, he didn't dwell on these thoughts. Let me see what hidden treasures are here. Upon clicking, there were only 3 lonely items inside. Demonic Capital Honor Badge priced at 200,000 gold coins, Demonic Capital Order Uniform priced at 12,000 gold coins, and Demonic Capital Guardian Mark priced at 10,000 gold coins. Lin Ziluo was inwardly startled. He had once seen a war god from Huaxia wearing this type of equipment. It was definitely a treasure. He glanced at his own balance. Now, he could only afford the Demonic Capital Enforcer uniform. As for the Demonic Capital Honor Badge, he didn't even dare to think about it. Even at half price, it still costs 100,000 gold coins. He'll have to come back when he's saved up enough money. After purchasing the Demonic Capital Enforcer uniform, Lin Ziluo didn't linger and walked out of the metal pod, as attributes couldn't be viewed inside the store. As soon as he stepped out, he couldn't wait to activate the card. Demonic Capital Order Enforcer Uniform Diamond Grade Special Equipment. After equipping, all your clothing type equipment can be concealed by the uniform. As long as you are in the Demonic Capital, any player whose reputation does not exceed yours in attacks, you will have their attributes reduced by 10% for 5 minutes. You can establish the Order of the Demonic Capital, and once a day, assign a system-approved task to one player in the Demonic Capital other than yourself. Truly worthy of being a city-exclusive equipment, its attributes are indeed unique and rare. Lin Ziluo couldn't wait to take off his equipment. Then he activated the uniform. In an instant, a long black robe was draped over him. Lin Ziluo was quite satisfied, then proceeded to test the transformation effect of the uniform. He picked up the Aegis chestplate, and the system immediately prompted, "Activate the transformation effect of the Demonic Capital Enforcer uniform? Activate." With Lin Ziluo's response, the chest armor on his body suddenly vanished, but he clearly felt an increase in his attributes. He tried a few more times. He discovered that from now on, wearing just one uniform would allow him to maximize his flexibility and concealment. At this moment, the system warned that the store would close in less than 30 minutes. Lin Ziluo quickly pulled strong away from there. He didn't want to pay the overtime fee. Once outside, Lin Ziluo prepared to try out the uniform's order function. So with a mischievous grin, he gave Strong the command to destroy the whole world. Upon hearing this, Strong trembled with fear. Probably even the system felt like cursing. Ding. Task failed. System review. Lin Ziluo, refusing to give up, kept trying. Punched down the Demonic Capital Library. Task failed. System review. Killed a legendary boss. Still failed. Review. Peeked at Mike showering. Task passed. System review. Publish. Lin Ziluo quickly cancelled the task. He definitely didn't want to witness such an eyesore. After a few trials, he had roughly figured it out. Any task that didn't make logical sense would fail. He pondered over it for a long time. Lin Ziluo posted a reliable task, to defeat the boss in the Demonic Capital's library. He also discovered a hidden bug in this function. He can detect if there's a boss nearby. The next goal is to level up and defeat the boss in the library. Meanwhile, in a small cubicle somewhere in the Demonic Capital library, a young couple huddled in the corner. The girl trembled as she asked, "It won't find us here, will it?" The man tried to comfort her. "Probably not." Suddenly, the girl turned her head to the side. Her eyes filled with terror as she saw a pair of blood-red eyes staring intently at them. On the 5th day of the apocalypse, 80% of the world's population had turned into zombies. Many young couples are hiding inside their houses. Every day, they contribute to the continuation of humanity. The girl suddenly turned her head to the side. Her eyes filled with terror as a pair of blood-red eyes stared fixedly at them. She let out a silent scream, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably from fear. Away quickly covered his girlfriend's mouth and whispered, "Be quiet. Don't let that thing hear us." He was equally frightened, his body trembling non-stop, but as a man he needed to stay calm. Suddenly, the iron door let out a screeching sound. Then a bizarrely shaped zombie crawled in, its crimson long tongue swaying in the air. Away's brain froze on the spot. The zombie extended its 8-meter-long tongue and licked away, filling his heart with endless fear. But he still tightly shielded his girlfriend in front of him. Then Away overcame the fear in his heart and bravely dashed out while holding his girlfriend. Seeing the gate not far away, Away caught a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Suddenly, the zombie's long tongue wrapped around the girl's ankle. Then she was abruptly dragged back, leaving Away helplessly watching, unable to do anything. With a piercing scream, his heart also lost the will to live. Away glanced at the usable weapons nearby and found a broom. He charged toward the zombie without hesitation. Xiaomei, I'm coming to be with you. A sorrowful cry echoed through the silent night, but soon tranquility returned. Lin Ziluo followed the sound to the room. Before her eyes, a zombie was holding Awei's head and sucking on it. At this sight, Lin Ziluo felt no ripple of emotion in her heart. He had long been desensitized to such scenes. They wouldn't survive long after the game's protection period ended anyway. Perhaps dying now could be considered a form of relief. The zombie showed a displeased expression at Lin Ziluo's interruption of its meal, and Lin Ziluo immediately recognized its type. It's an assassin-type zombie. Just like humans changing professions, zombies also develop in various directions during their evolution. This particular zombie is clearly one of the more intelligent kind. It can enhance its wisdom by consuming human brains. Crawling zombie. This creature can enhance its abilities by consuming human brains. Bronze grade boss. Level 10. Skill backstab strike. Lin Ziluo merely glanced at it before averting his gaze, as he could discern the skill's function just by reading its name. The crawling zombie stared at Lin Ziluo before it, a flicker of confusion evident in its blood-red eyes. It couldn't understand why these two toys weren't running away. Ding. Detected player vindictiveness encountering bronze grade boss. The Golden Finger system has detected the host's mission. Activating mission, Wrath of the Crawling Zombie. The librarian, falsely accused of stealing books from the library, seeks revenge. He aims to eliminate all book lovers in the world. Mission reward. 1 piece of bronze grade equipment. Lin Ziluo had been waiting for the mission to arrive, so he ordered Strong to block it. There were still many zombies on this floor, and he had to finish the fight quickly. The crawling zombie looked at Strong and felt provoked. It quickly began crawling along the walls of the passage. Strong raised the large iron rod and swung it at the zombie. The crawling zombie showed no intention of dodging. It performed the skill Shadow Phantom Strike, swiftly melting into the wall as if disappearing. This caused Strong to miss his strike, and the figure of the crawling zombie suddenly appeared behind Strong. Before Strong could react, the crawling zombie's sharp claws gleamed with a black light. It attacked Strong's defenseless back. Suddenly, a flash of sword light sliced through its claws. Lin Ziluo had been waiting for this moment. He circled around to its back and said, "You're not so tough after all." Facing the long sword slashing from behind, the crawling zombie abruptly turned its body and used its claws to block. But the cost was having both hands split in half. Lin Ziluo wore a smug expression. Everything that had just happened was within his calculations. Although the crawling zombie was furious, but fear took over, forcing it to flee in panic. Lin Ziluo yawned and out of boredom, he decided to give the zombie a 10-second head start. When he finished counting to 10, without hesitation, he activated the wind boots and white wing cloak. He shot forward like an arrow released from its bow. Soon he caught up with it and unleashed the explosive twin slash with a swift motion. The crawling zombie sensed something amiss and turned around, only to be met with a blade of black light before its eyes. Then with a thunderous roar, the crawling zombie was blown to pieces. And the system's notification sounds densely rang out. Congratulations to player Vindictiveness for completing the mission Wrath of the Crawling Zombie. Congratulations, player has advanced to level 10. Without a class change, further leveling up is not possible. All experience will be accumulated. Please wait patiently for the opening of the class change channel. Looking at the full experience bar, Lin Ziluo thought to himself that he must find the scroll quickly, as the first player to successfully change classes would receive a global announcement. Congratulations, host, on successfully reaching level 10. You have gained one opportunity to draw a super golden finger. Lin Ziluo secretly felt a surge of excitement. Last time he had drawn the absolute drop rate. Congratulations, player. You have drawn the super golden finger Yin-Yang twins. You can simultaneously possess 2 professions, and each level up grants double the attribute points. Lin Ziluo felt a bit embarrassed. With such a cheat, how could other players even compete? If I could switch between a warrior and a mage, wouldn't that allow me to achieve an incredible combination of physical and magical abilities? On the 6th day of the apocalypse, ordinary people are still struggling to survive. Yet this man is feasting on a full-course imperial banquet. He even possesses the ability to enslave zombies. Now, he has even obtained the golden finger of dual-class advancement. Lin Ziluo could already envision the scene. Him wielding a sword in one hand while casting magic with the other. At this thought, he felt a bit embarrassed himself. How would other players even compete with that? Suddenly, a roar interrupted his reverie about the future. It was the zombie on this floor drawn by the noise that had come knocking. Lin Ziluo showed no mercy at all. He directly unleashed the spike assault. In an instant, dozens of spikes erupted from the ground, piercing through all the zombies in the hall. Countless messages about zombie kills flooded the screen once again, but Lin Ziluo had no interest in any of them. Instead, he stepped forward and embraced the silver treasure chest dropped by the crawling zombie. This dropped silver treasure chest could be moved. He went straight upstairs and called out to Strong. Lin Ziluo immediately ran up the stairs along the emergency exit. After running for a while, they reached the 5th floor, where only a few low-level zombies were present. So he had the laborer Strong handle the cleanup. He, on the other hand, pondered the newly acquired golden finger, yin-yang twins, which imposes no restrictions on the content of the two professions. However, if the fixed attributes added are of the same type, only the highest value will be taken. Since Shadow increases strength and agility, this means he needs to find professions that boost constitution and spirit. Numerous combinations of professions flashed through Lin Ziluo's mind. Within Huaxia, there seemed to be no particularly suitable options of this type. From what he recalls, only the hidden profession, Holy Sword Paladin, from the United States fits the bill. This realization gave him a headache, as reaching the other side of the ocean would still take quite some time. Thinking of this, Lin Ziluo temporarily set aside the issue and first went to claim his mission rewards. Bronze Great Equipment, Bronze Warhammer. Lin Ziluo hefted the large hammer that appeared in his hand. Weighing several hundred kilograms, it clearly did not suit his usual style. So, he chose to give it to Strong, who surprisingly broke into a smile upon receiving the giant hammer. Lin Ziluo glanced over and noticed that Strong's mission reward item was the Eye of Reconnaissance. Indeed, this was the drop rate an ordinary person should expect. He then proceeded to open the silver treasure chest, as defeating a boss would either drop an item or a treasure chest. Ding! Player Vindictiveness has received a blessing from the treasure chest, successfully expanding their storage space by 0.3 cubic meters. Reinforced Battle Greaves, Silver Grade Equipment, reduces the duration of negative effects on the player by 20%. It's equivalent to wearing Mercury's treads. From now on, if you encounter enemy crowd control, you'll be able to move freely. After handling these matters, Lin Ziluo no longer wanted to farm zombies. He instructed Strong to collect the items dropped by the slain zombies. He planned to first change his class to Shadow and secure the world announcement. He hoped the Dead God Club would gather more members so they could clear out the museum earlier. On the 8th day of the apocalypse, Lin Ziluo returned to the Dead God Club after resting for 2 days. He saw Gao Dong and immediately asked when they would attack the demonic capital museum. Gao Dong patted his chest proudly and said that he had sent people to recruit members outside. Now, the Dead God Club had over 200 members and was planning to head towards the demonic capital museum in the afternoon. Seeing Lin Ziluo return, Gao Dong felt a surge of joy in his heart. As long as this operation succeeds, no one will compete with him for the position of president. So he delivered an impassioned speech. Today is a significant day for our Dead God Club, as we are about to embark on a massive campaign to raid the demonic capital museum. The crowd below listened with fervent excitement. Having lived in constant fear, they were finally ready to launch a counterattack against the zombies. They even argued over the distribution of supplies, as if they were already the victors of this operation. Lin Ziluo sighed at the sight, thinking to herself, they're treating the apocalypse like a casual game. Once the beginner's protection period is over, who knows how many will meet a tragic end. Gao Dong picked up his binoculars and observed the dense horde of zombies surrounding the museum. He asked for Lin Ziluo's suggestion to lure the zombies away by deploying agile individuals, then find hidden spots to eliminate them one by one. Lin Ziluo explained the plan in detail. The others looked at him with expressions full of admiration. This left Gao Dong with little room to object, so he decided to give it a try. Everything was ready. Lin Ziluo took out a piece of raw meat and stepped forward, declaring with great righteousness, "Leave the first round of luring the zombies to me." Then he instructed Strong to only kill zombies, and not to follow anyone else's orders. After giving the instructions, Lin Ziluo grabbed the raw meat and charged out. As expected, the zombies outside the museum entrance chased after Lin Ziluo. The others also successfully entered the museum. Seeing the timing was about right, Lin Ziluo threw the raw meat to the young man who had come out with him to lure the zombies. "You keep running with the meat. I'll go deal with the zombie for you." He also stated that the greatest credit for this operation belonged to them, and all subsequent rewards would be theirs. The two were deeply moved, thinking, "Brother Lin is such a great guy." and Lin Camper returned to the demonic capital museum to fight zombies. Just kidding. With no zombies blocking his way, he quickly ran toward that familiar exhibition hall. Opened the door. He saw the scroll he had been longing for on the display stand. After the apocalypse arrived, the man not only had the ability to enslave zombies, he also gained an overpowered golden finger, the yin-yang twins, enabling him to become the world's only dual cultivator of both physical and magical abilities. Lin Ziluo used the members of the Dead God Club to lure away the zombie horde. He then ran towards that familiar exhibition hall. He saw the scroll he had been longing for on the display stand, with two patterns on it. One resembled an ox, making it clear at a glance that this was no ordinary item. Lin Ziluo quickly walked up to the scroll and, looking at the protective shield around it, threw a punch directly at it. In an instant, a piercing alarm sounded, but he paid no attention to it. Lin Ziluo continued to swing his fists. The supposedly indestructible tempered glass began to crack. Then with a loud bang it shattered completely. I have to admit, domestic tempered glass is truly impressive. Even with his robust physique, he felt the pain in his hand. Then Lin Ziluo placed his hand on the scroll. Ding! Player Vindictiveness has discovered a strange scroll that seems to hold immense secrets. Player Vindictiveness, will you accept the scroll's summons? Lin Ziluo replied without the slightest hesitation. Accept. As soon as the words fell, the scroll began to emit a dazzling light. The light enveloped the entire exhibition hall, and Lin Ziluo's vision gradually became covered by the white light. Suddenly he felt a sense of weightlessness. As the scroll program completed its execution, his entire being seemed enveloped by data. It took him a long time before he finally opened his eyes. He looked around and found himself in a completely sealed stone room, exactly as he had seen in his previous life. Without hesitation, he walked straight to a stone wall and reached out his hand. A wormhole-like ring of light appeared on the wall. Lin Ziluo walked through it effortlessly. Congratulations, Player Vindictiveness has successfully activated the trial. During the trial, all equipment, skills, and abilities are disabled. The flow of time here differs from the outside world. Failing the trial will result in the player's immediate elimination, as ruthless as it was in the previous life. Suddenly, the optimization prompt of the golden finger chimed in. Ding! If the host fails the task, there will be no penalty. The system will protect the host and allow them to leave the trial space. Task successfully triggered, the ancient trial. This is a legacy that has existed for thousands of years, waiting for someone strong enough to inherit it. The task requires passing the trial from the scroll. The reward includes one random ordinary golden finger and one silver grade equipment. Upon hearing this, Lin Ziluo's face was full of confusion. The description of the golden finger system seemed a bit off. Shadow is a legendary assassin from ancient Huaxia, with a history of about 1,000 years. Moreover, the second job advancement at level 50 is Phantom Assassin, and the third job advancement at level 80 is Shadow God. Lin Ziluo looked warily at the golden finger system and asked, "What's going on?" The system actually shut down directly. This was the first time Lin Ziluo had seen the system behave like this. However, at this point, he had no way out but to accept the mission. First trial begins. Player Vindictiveness, please place your hand on the Li Pearl. Lin Ziluo walked straight to the yellow pearl. Then he placed his hand on the pearl. Instantly, red lines gradually appeared on the surface of the pearl. They began to intertwine. It's coming. Lin Ziluo tensed his body and became alert. A blinding red light flashed. He was forced to close his eyes. After a moment of mental haziness, the strong smell of blood jolted Lin Ziluo awake. At that moment he found himself in a boundless space. The entire area above was filled with a dark red hue, creating an overwhelmingly oppressive feeling. Lin Ziluo stood on a reef, crouched down, and scooped up some of the seawater from the ocean. Instantly, an intense smell of blood rushed toward him. This so-called seawater was actually all blood. How many people had to die to create such a vast sea of blood? Suddenly, a powerful shout echoed from above the space. The voice, as if enchanted, instantly made Lin Ziluo's blood boil. In his previous life, it was his deep-seated hatred for Yao Qinghan that had enabled him to barely endure this ordeal. This time he had to rely on his own will to endure it. Lin Ziluo stood motionless on the reef, letting the crimson waves crash against his body. I don't know how much time had passed, but the turbulent sea of blood suddenly calmed down. A faint smile finally appeared on Lin Ziluo's face. He had passed this trial, which proved that his mental state had grown significantly stronger than in his previous life. Congratulations, player. You have successfully passed the first trial. As the system prompt sounded, Lin Ziluo returned to reality. The blood that had covered his body had completely vanished. He straightened his clothes. Lin Ziluo then headed toward the entrance of the next level. As soon as he stepped in, he saw an endless darkness ahead. This was the second trial. All he had to do was keep moving forward, never stopping, without caring about the exhaustion of his body. In his previous life, he had no idea how long he persisted until he collapsed and only then realized he had reached the third trial. This time he wanted to see the dawn at the end, so his steps were resolute as he moved forward. Yet the deep dark space had no end in sight. He didn't know how long he had been advancing through this darkness, perhaps a week, perhaps a month, or maybe even 100 years. Give up. This thought began to fill his mind. Lin Ziluo gritted his teeth, his gaze resolute. This time he was determined to see the end of the challenge. So he took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He unearthed the memories of his past life. The experiences of the past 10 years began to replay continuously in his mind. 10 years after 10 years, everything replayed over and over in his thoughts. Another unknown length of time has passed. Lin Ziluo saw a light appear ahead, so dazzling in his eyes. He, in order to obtain the world's unique hidden profession, the man without eating or drinking, walked through endless darkness for tens of thousands of years. Give up. His heart echoed this thought countless times. But all of these were resolutely rejected by Lin Ziluo. I've already experienced this in my past life, and now I have a chance to start over. Why didn't he persist until he saw the dawn at the end? Gradually, his footsteps began to grow heavy. He walked on numbly year after year, for what felt like an eternity. After an unknown length of time, Lin Ziluo saw a light ahead, so dazzling in his eyes. Was this the end? At this moment, Lin Ziluo almost burst into tears with emotion. He trembled as he walked towards the white light. His eyes, long accustomed to the darkness, felt no discomfort at all. He only felt an extraordinary warmth, a true rebirth in every sense. He cautiously took a step forward and walked into the white light. Lin Ziluo found herself back in the familiar stone house. Ding! Congratulations, player, for successfully passing the second trial. Please proceed to the next trial. The long-awaited game prompt finally made Lin Ziluo heave a sigh of relief. The final level that follows. It was the cat from his past life that left him with a scar that could never be healed. The moment he thought about being able to face that cat again, Lin Ziluo's innate heart of vengeance was activated. After selecting a weapon from the weapon rack, he passed through the wall. He arrived inside a massive stone cavern. Third trial commenced. Player Vindictiveness is requested to eliminate the guardian beast. The empty cave was unusually calm, but Lin Ziluo remained vigilant, raising his longsword. Suddenly, a piercing cat's cry rang out. This gave one the feeling of goosebumps rising all over the body, in the originally empty mountain cave. Ripples appeared on one of the stone walls. A massive dark shadow leaped out from within. What met the eyes was a cat with a human face, one that resembled an old man's, covered in wrinkles, appearing particularly eerie in the dimly lit cave. Lin Ziluo took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The human-faced cat was somewhat bewildered. After waiting for so long, it had encountered a madman. Meanwhile, Lin Ziluo was simply recalling the combat techniques from his past life. He repeatedly revisited his memories. After repeatedly simulating the combat scenarios, his combat abilities once again achieved a tremendous breakthrough. Ding! Ability to detect player vindictiveness has broken through to a new realm, obtaining the legendary talent, Omniscient and Omnipotent. When it comes to matters of combat, you possess an unimaginable level of mastery. Lin Ziluo paid no attention to these notification sounds, because he heard the human-faced cat move. It transformed into a flash of light and charged towards Lin Ziluo, its figure moving too fast for the naked eye to see. Yet Lin Ziluo, with his eyes closed, could sense its position through the changes in the airflow. The moment he heard the human-faced cat was almost upon him, Lin Ziluo swung his blade in an instant. The human-faced cat showed a look of shock on its face, as it felt itself being restrained by an invisible shackle. It allowed countless blades of energy to slice across its body. Even as it hit the ground, the human-faced cat's expression remained frozen in endless terror. Ding! Player Vindictiveness has successfully slain the guardian beast. Congratulations to Player Vindictiveness for successfully passing the third trial. Trial reward. Level increased by 1. Shadow Clash change scroll. Notifications from the Doomsday game appeared one after another, and a scroll materialized in Lin Ziluo's hand. He was in no hurry to open it, because he was astonished to find that he had not left the cave. And the finger system issued the ancient trial. No rewards were issued either. Could it be that what trapped him here wasn't the doomsday game, but the golden finger system? Lin Ziluo suddenly realized. From the very beginning, he had never truly inherited the power of the scroll. Host detected successfully passing the trial. Please proceed forward to receive the true power from the scroll. The long-lost voice brought a sigh of relief to Lin Ziluo. Fortunately, it wasn't a bug that trapped me in the cave. So he tried to ask the system for directions. As expected, there was still no response. The system remained silent, continuing to play dead. Curiosity arose in Lin Ziluo's heart. What kind of scroll could make the cheat system fall silent? Or perhaps the system and the scroll were old acquaintances. However, this was beyond his control. Lin Ziluo could only follow the instructions and walk forward, soon arriving at the end of the cave. After a brief inspection, he noticed a small crack on one of the stone walls. The cracks seemed to form a pattern when connected. Lin Ziluo reached out his hand to touch them. Suddenly, a yellow light began to emit from the cracks, and the gaps started to shift, as if constructing something. Lin Ziluo waited patiently until, after a while, the cracks finally completed their assembly. Accompanied by the yellow light, these cracks unexpectedly outlined two patterns, one of them being an ox. Isn't this the two images recorded on the scroll earlier? Suddenly, the entire cave began to shake as if it might collapse at any moment. In pursuit of the world's unique hidden profession, the man went without food or drink, walking through endless darkness for tens of thousands of years. He then defeated the terrifying boss, the human-faced cat. He finally cleared all 3 trials of the scroll. Yet the system notified him that he had never truly inherited the scroll's real power. Lin Ziluo had no choice but to follow the instructions and arrived at the end of the cave, where he discovered a tiny crack on a stone wall. Suddenly, a blinding light shone from within, followed by violent tremors throughout the cave, making it feel as if it could collapse at any moment. A rustic stone gate abruptly rose from the ground. Engraved on it were the familiar patterns of an ox and a bird. Lin Ziluo stepped forward and attempted to push the stone door. Unexpectedly, he pushed it open with ease. In front of me was a stone room, with a stone platform in the center holding some items. First, there was the Li Pearl that appeared in the initial trial, and then there was the scroll placed in the museum. He didn't want to touch that Li Pearl thing anymore. So he was the first to pick up that scroll. The text on it was identical to the one in the museum. Lin Ziluo couldn't understand it at all, and just as he was puzzled, a warm current flowed through the scroll into his hand. To his astonishment, he discovered that he could now understand the characters on the scroll. The 3 words at the top immediately stunned him, Lin Ziluo. This scroll was actually connected to the ancient Chiyu. He also understood the meaning behind the recurring patterns of oxen and birds. They were the totems of the ancient Nine-Li tribe. The scroll also recorded that Chiyu was killed by the Yellow Emperor, and his head transformed into the blood maple forest. However, his soul was preserved after encountering the cat demon. No wonder the final trial was a cat. And yet, Chiyu's soul was ultimately destined to dissipate. Before fading away, he created this trial scroll. An unyielding will, an enduring perseverance, a perfect battle. Only by achieving the highest standards in all trials can one inherit the ultimate power of the Nine-Li tribe. Ding. Host, please place both hands over the totem. At this moment, Lin Ziluo was still in shock. In his previous life, he had never heard of anyone inheriting Chiyu's power. However, he decisively placed his hand on the pattern. In an instant, an endless stream of energy poured into Lin Ziluo's body. The excruciating pain of cleansing and refining his very essence caused his body to tremble uncontrollably. Ding! Detected that player vindictiveness is undergoing an unknown energy inheritance, currently matching the unknown power with the Blue Star culture and the Apocalypse game system. Congratulations to player vindictiveness on the successful class change. The Apocalypse game has named this class Lord of War. As the final prompt appeared, the power of the scroll finally finished transferring. Lin Ziluo, utterly exhausted, plopped down on the ground, yet he remained quite exhilarated. Lord of War, throughout the thousands of years of Huaxia's history, apart from Chiyu, no one else has been able to earn such a title. At the same time, Lin Ziluo also understood that the bead was the weapon of the Lord of War. Its true name is the Nine-Li Orb, capable of devouring energy to enhance its own attributes and level. Lin Ziluo couldn't help but gasp in shock. This means that this item can grow infinitely. With just a thought from Lin Ziluo, The nine-li orb directly drilled into his sea of consciousness. It's truly worthy of being Chiyu's weapon. Even its way of existence is so unique. Lin Ziluo pressed the button to end the trial. The next second, he found himself back in the museum exhibition hall. Surrounding him were the corpses of zombies, likely drawn by the earlier alarm and subsequently eliminated by the Dead God Club members. Fortunately, the scroll on the display stand was still there. Player Vindictiveness has completed the trial, further digitizing the profession. Lord of War. Lin Ziluo opened his status panel. Basic attributes: Strength 49, Spirit 24, Constitution 46, Agility 36. These attributes had increased several times compared to before his class change. This was the gap after class advancement in the Apocalypse game. Congratulations, player, for being the first to successfully change classes. You have obtained the globally unique achievement, Pioneer. A server-wide announcement is about to be made. However, he had no mind to dwell on this. He couldn't wait to open his class panel. Class Lord of War. Ability * Master of Myriad Weapons. Can manipulate the nine-li orb to transform into any warrior class weapon, regardless of type, thereby gaining the abilities and skills of that warrior class. The attributes and tier of the nine-li orb can be enhanced by infusing it with energy. Additionally, there are other abilities that have not yet been activated. Lin Ziluo couldn't believe it and pinched his own butt. So satisfying. The pain made him realize that he truly wasn't dreaming. In his 10 years of surviving the apocalypse in his previous life, he had never encountered such a terrifying hidden profession. He'll probably be able to strut through zombie hordes from now on. Lin Ziluo couldn't wait to test the power of the nine-li orb. He retrieved a bronze weapon from his storage space. Then, without hesitation, he chose to devour it. Instantly, the weapon transformed into a beam of light. Finally, it merged into the nine-li orb. Lin Ziluo stared at the attributes of the orb after the devouring, frozen in disbelief. The apocalypse has descended, while others are still fighting zombies with beginner gear. Yet the man has inherited the power of the ancient Chiyu. He has transitioned into the unique hidden class Lord of War. He also obtained Chiyu's exclusive weapon, the nine-li orb. Lin Ziluo couldn't wait to take out Doomcleaver. Then, without hesitation, he clicked Devour, and the weapon swiftly transformed into a beam of light, ultimately merging into the nine-li orb. Lin Ziluo stared at the attributes of the nine-li orb after the devouring, frozen in disbelief. Because the nine-li orb had successfully evolved into a silver-grade item, Lin Ziluo held it in her hand. Now was the moment to reveal the true power of the nine-li orb. Under Lin Ziluo's will, the nine-li orb began to gradually change its form, ultimately taking on the same appearance as Doomcleaver. Silver-grade equipment. Blade of Nine-Li Tribe. Attacks possess a 10% armor penetration attribute. Attached skills. Nine-Li Slash. Releases a blade energy that deals 130% of strength attribute as damage, with the pain inflicted by the blade energy reaching 200%. Nine-Li Heavy Strike. Strikes the enemy with a single slash, dealing 200% of strength attribute as damage, but causes a 2-second self-stun effect. Lin Ziluo didn't expect the skills also change along with the transformation. Thus, a bold idea emerged in his mind, and he once again channeled his intent to activate the blade of the Nine-Li Tribe. Its appearance immediately transformed, taking on the shape of a bow and arrow as envisioned by Lin Ziluo. Silver-grade equipment. Bow of the Nine-Li Tribe. Attached skills. Fire Arrow. Ice Arrow. The skills also transformed into those of the archer profession. Lin Ziluo couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. This meant he possessed all professions of the warrior class. He then tried out the assassin, tank, and swordsman professions as well. As expected, all transformed into weapons corresponding to their respective professions. Suddenly, the Nine-Li orb turned into a lump of mud. It did not transform into the shape he desired. The system immediately issued a strong warning. It turned out his mental energy had been depleted. Any further forced transformation would cause him to fall into a coma. No wonder he felt extremely exhausted himself. At this moment, the world announcement also sounded. Congratulations to player Vindictiveness for being the first to reach level 10 and successfully complete the class change. Achieved the globally unique achievement, Pioneer. Players who were still asleep late at night were startled awake. Is that familiar name Vindictiveness again? Is this guy using hacks? At this moment, Lin Ziluo, weak and sitting on the ground, frantically gulped down small blue potions to quickly restore his mental energy. As for the world announcement, Lin Ziluo no longer felt the excitement he once had. The only thing he looked forward to now was the reward title. Unique title. Pioneer. All attributes increased by 2, with a 5% attribute suppression against players who have changed classes. Lin Ziluo glanced at it with some disappointment. Next up was the task reward of drawing a golden finger. Ding! A silver grade equipment is being drawn. Congratulations, host! You have successfully drawn the evil phantom mask. A blue mask resembling the face of a demon appeared in Lin Ziluo's hand. Silver grade equipment. Evil phantom mask. Skill. Upon equipping, it conceals the player's basic information, making it unviewable unless the viewer's level is 5 or more higher than the player's. After using Demon's Gaze, anyone who looks at the mask within 3 seconds will fall into a state of fear. Lin Ziluo did not hesitate at all and replaced the concealment mask, choosing not to activate the uniform's transformation effect. This way, not only could he hide his attributes, but he could also prevent others from seeing his appearance. Dressed in a black robe and wearing a demon mask, this is the epitome of a mysterious and powerful figure. What comes next is drawing an ordinary golden finger. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the golden finger breakthrough limit. The restriction of only being able to wear 1 ring has been broken, and the number of rings that can be equipped has increased by 1. Lin Ziluo was taken aback in his heart. This meant he had 1 more equipment slot than others. However, he currently had no extra rings on him, and could only wait for the next one to drop. With all the rewards collected, Lin Ziluo stared intently at the 12 free attribute points in his hand, since his next class would be of the mage type. After careful consideration, he allocated 6 points to the spirit attribute. The rest were allocated to strength and constitution. Now Lin Ziluo's attributes have skyrocketed once again, leaving ordinary players far behind. By the time he walked out of the museum, the sun had long since risen to begin its workday. Meanwhile, on the rooftop of the store, members of the Dead God Club were joyfully celebrating, likely due to a triumphant victory in their recent expedition. Gao Dong led Strong onto the stage and announced the battle to besiege the demonic capital museum. It can be recorded in the annals of the Dead God Club. And the biggest contributor this time is Mr. Strong. Unfortunately, Strong only has eyes for the food and shows no interest in their admiration. Gao Dong said awkwardly, "Brother Strong, why don't you show off your mighty presence for the brothers?" As he spoke, he made a move to take the chicken leg from Strong's hand. Strong quickly turned around, hiding the chicken leg in his embrace. Gao Dong watched with a speechless expression. That chicken leg really was this guy's lifeline. At that moment, the elevator door opened, and Lin Ziluo, dressed in a black robe, stepped inside. Gao Dong's face lit up with excitement upon seeing the newcomer. "I finally get to see you."